What is good, you guys? It is your girl Aaliyah, and I am back at it again with another episode of Black Sheep of the Burbs. And today I have my cousin-in-law, my sister from another mister,
Hey.
Arlise.
Hi.
Also, not to mention, I got my cousin Sean in the background as well, if you want to say hi.
What up?
Silly.
Oh my god, this is really cool though. I really do appreciate you coming here so we
Of
could, have this
course.
episode. Especially with having family and stuff around, I think that it's really cool to, sit down and hear your perspective on things
sure.
as well. So I do want to just get straight into it. If you want to just do a deep dive, and we can go into talking about Mexican culture and what it was like for you growing up.
Well, it was different. Just to kind of give a little background, my parents are super religious. They are Jehovah's Witnesses to this day.
Okay.
So we really didn't have that pride in Mexican culture because we were Christians, and when you're a Christian, you don't really, how do I say this? You don't really celebrate that. You're more with Jesus and God and whatnot. So that to me, I didn't have that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So I was just basically homebound, going out to service, going to the Kingdom Hall. I think up until I've had an on and off relationship with that, but I think I put that to rest now, and I decided that I'm no longer going to be a Jehovah's Witness. But yeah, it was different. It was difficult for me to finally kind of be able to kind of put my foot in and see and celebrate and be, what's the word I'm looking for? What is the word that I'm looking for? When you're trying to kind of,
be more enrooted in your culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now I'm discovering that, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say that now. But yeah, I really didn't get to do that when I was young. I just knew that I was Mexican 100%. And I was a Jehovah's Witness. But yeah, it was difficult. Now I am.
Yeah, for sure. And would you say that there's anything toxic in Caribbean, or sorry, not Caribbean, but Mexican culture?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think those roots are still yes, that's for sure. I think because my parents were so old school and they were so grounded into coming to the United States, finding a better life and working and trying to give us, the pathway to become whatever we wanted to be.
Right. Yeah.
And they only knew work and giving us, the basic needs of surviving, which is food, clothes on our back, and, just being able to have that. But they were not, and we've talked about that, being emotionally connected.
Of course,
with me and my siblings. I didn't have that. I just knew that my parents worked. They gave us what they could with the tools that they had. My parents had their own trauma that I think they still need to face, but I don't think they'll, I don't think they realize that yet, that they do need to kind of face the trauma that they had to deal with. But they did give us the foundation of okay, work, this and that and this, but the love, ooh, it's still hard because I know my parents love me, and I think. And that's in the Mexican culture too. I think for anyone with a different, with our parents living in a different generation, our parents
a different culture, a different generation, different religion.
Toxic for sure. Because I know they did their best with what they had, but as far as just everything else, if I was to say I was sad, I told you this, ponte limpiar, go clean, or I'm not feeling good today, I'm not feeling, happy and whatnot. Oh, you're just bored, So it was definitely toxic because I wasn't able to, talk about my emotions.
Right, or voice your opinion.
It was suppressed.
Voice your, voice your concern. Yeah.
And that was with also being in, the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses, because you would suppress your emotions because they would just teach you, just pray to God, put your burden on him. But it's like, no, you have to talk about your emotions
Of
and not
course.
suppress them.
Yeah.
And, why are you sad? Why are you mad? Being able to have that confrontation and talk about it. And it was more suppressing it. And my parents as well, they didn't know how to communicate that. I mean, shoot, I got pregnant at 15. Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
Oh yeah,
but,
for sure.
yeah.
But I really do applaud you and my cousin for even with being pregnant at 15. I'm sure there were a lot of things that you faced.
Yeah.
With
Oh gosh,
being
yeah.
with being pregnant, at 15.
Yeah.
And there's so many stereotypes. I think especially with involving Mexican culture and people getting like pregnant at such a young age, especially for minorities. And it's just it brings a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that people don't really talk about when it comes to dealing with carrying a life and then still having to face outside problems like problems from society on top of that.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you on the toxic culture when it comes to like the Hispanic community, and even with the Caribbean community. Like most communities, especially if you're not really from America, they have a problem where like you said, different era, different generation, different culture, you're taught to suppress your emotions a lot of the time. And like you said, we've talked about it where even for me, like growing up, I didn't feel comfortable with voicing my opinions, because when I did, especially with me being the youngest and the only girl, it was like,
oh, yeah,
she's being dramatic, she's a girl, so it would just kind of get like brushed off to the side. And, I think there was a lot of things that I had to go through on my own, in terms of dealing with my mental health. Life, mental health, certain issues, dealing with discrimination. Because, even with my parents, like you said, you mentioned your parents, coming up here to America just to be able to, get opportunities to, like start up. How do I put this?
And nothing was handed.
Nothing was handed to them.
They had to work, and that's all immigrants, who come to America and wanting to look for a better life.
Of course.
And and that comes in play with what's happening today under this administration. But we'll pause on that one.
Get into that.
But the sacrifices that they had to make, and that's where
I don't blame them though.
Well, yeah. And I try to keep that in mind and have that empathy towards towards them. And just for me now in my life, I have I love my parents to death, but I do have like that guard up with them where I don't allow certain things.
The boundaries.
The boundaries, and just being able to kind of like, I'm like, all right, I'll talk to you in 2 days. I'll come back, I'll check in, because it's still a little toxic right now, but I just love my parents, and they're here today. And, just being able to just still talk to them. Though I understand that now I'm not going to be able to get what I want out of them, but they're here for my kids. They love my kids dearly. They love me.
Of course,
so I take that with grace.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But they still toxic.
Girl,
love you, mommy, daddy.
Right. No, it's and even in Trinidad, there's a saying like you could take the pig out the mud, but you can't take the mud off the pig.
Oh, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's basically like, you could take somebody out of their culture. You can move, like migrate to somewhere that's, not Mexico, or you can migrate to somewhere that's not Trinidad, like for America, for example. But you can't take the culture away from them,
Well, and then, it a lot of things that my parents did to me, I've took on and I've learned not to do to my children. So, for instance, like I wasn't able to go out to parties. I wasn't able to go out, just, to stay after school. Like if I wanted to just hang out with a friend, I couldn't do that. I had to lie. I hate it, but it
Yeah.
came down to that where
Yeah.
I was a rebellious child.
Mhm.
But that's because I wanted the certain freedoms.
Yeah, that everybody else
Yeah,
had,
like and I'm like, I'm a kid. I'm like, I didn't do anything to lose my parents' trust. So it's like,
Mhm.
why are they restricting me from just hanging out with, friends? But
Yeah.
that also comes to play that my parents were, again, religious.
Mhm.
So they didn't want me to hang out with people that were not, in our religious group,
Yeah.
as a Jehovah's Witness. So I
Mhm.
could only hang out with them. But it's like, I had nobody around me.
Yeah, that was like a Jehovah's Witness. Yeah.
At that time I
Mhm.
didn't. And, I would lie and say, hey, I'm going to stay after school to do, work. I'm going to do homework on a project.
Yeah.
And, I was hanging out with friends and,
Uh-huh.
got into some things. And,
Mhm.
I hated that I couldn't be honest, with my
Yeah.
kids. And I think with my parents, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
not my kids.
Yeah.
But I want that for my kids where they
For
could be
sure.
honest
Mhm.
with
Open
me.
and honest
Yeah, open and honest.
communication for sure.
And
Breaking generational
yeah, oh
curses.
gosh, yeah.
Mhm. Yes,
Yeah.
girl. And that's why we talked about, like earlier with mental health and
Yeah.
therapy. It does help a lot. It
Yeah, it
really
does.
does, cuz you're not it's not I think even with, our culture, we're taught to, like you said, suppress our emotions. So
Mm-hmm.
even just going out to, talk about your feelings to a therapist.
Oh, that's still hard for me to
Uh-huh.
talk about my emotions. And
Mhm.
even when, because I'm going back to therapy.
Uh-huh.
But even when I went to therapy back then, being able to talk to someone and really kind of
Yeah.
break down,
Those
the
walls,
trauma or the
yeah.
walls, and
Oh, it's hard.
figuring out, okay, why did I think this way, or what
Mhm.
could I have done better, or
Yeah.
and of course you're never going to be able to find like actual solutions to your problems, but you'll
Yeah.
be able to find solutions to cope with the problems that you're
Of
going
course.
through.
Of course.
So, that was me, back then. I wish my parents had put me into therapy so that I
Mhm.
can, understand, even with just getting pregnant, because
Mhm.
that to me really transformed everything, and what I thought I was doing right, I was doing wrong.
Yeah. So do you want to get into
15 and pregnant?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I was,
we need to
as I was
see.
saying, I was a rebellious child.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think what else. I remember, like, I was getting involved in sports, and
Mhm.
that was also like not what my parents wanted me to do, but I wanted to get, I wanted friends.
Of course, yeah.
And
And a hobby, in high school. You
yeah, well, it was middle
go out and,
school.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it
Well,
was
okay.
middle school where let me see. Yeah, it was middle school when I really started to kind of branch out and kind of like, I want to do things. I want to go to the dances that they have at school.
Yeah.
I wanted to, okay, there's volleyball. Okay, I'm going to get into, being on the volleyball team.
Mhm.
And that's just started like, okay, I was hanging out with this friend, she's really cool.
Mhm.
And getting into boys, because then that's when
Yeah.
you start discovering crushes.
Oh yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm having feelings for a boy.
Mhm.
And I want to be able to,
My cousin.
well, he didn't come until high school. I had prior crushes.
Okay.
Love you, Sean. But in high school, yeah, I mean, we'll go into that. Let's see, was it freshman? Yeah, it was freshman year. It was volleyball, and, no, was it AVM? I'm trying to think. It was 8th grade. It was 8th grade.
Okay.
Because I remember her dating one of Sean's friend.
Mhm.
And at the time, she's just like, you need a boyfriend. And I was just like, no, I don't. And she's just like, I'm going to hook you up with Sean.
Mhm.
And I'm like, Sean? Who is Sean?
Uh-huh.
Sure enough, she tells me like, okay, you and Sean are going out now.
Mhm.
And I didn't even know Sean. So I remember going up to Sean, and we were talking, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's cute. I like him back. And,
Uh-huh.
From there it kind of sparked.
Mhm.
And it then transitioned into, high school. We were still
Mhm.
talking back and forth. When you're
Okay.
kids, you're
Yeah,
dating,
of
and,
course, yeah.
boyfriend, girlfriend.
It
Sean broke
happens,
up with me.
yeah.
Well, Sean broke up with me in 8th grade in the letter.
Sean.
I don't know if he remembers that. But yeah, he broke up with me in a letter.
Mhm.
And I could not get this kid out of my head.
Uh-huh.
So in high school, we started talking again. And, feelings even developed even more.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I ended up getting pregnant with Sean's child
Mm-hmm.
at 15. And I think I was like at that time, I want to say I was like the second girl. No, there was 2 girls in there that was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And I, like, it didn't fully process in my head that I was pregnant, because I didn't find out I was pregnant until 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was it like a cryptic pregnancy?
Well, it was weird because I was still spotting here and there something, and that's my
Yeah, your
period
period,
still.
yeah.
But I was feeling very constipated and bloated, and I didn't look pregnant. And I was still playing a volleyball. I was doing all these sorts of things, and I remember I haven't told this story in forever. So bear with me. So
That's okay.
as I'm
That's
picking my
okay.
brain.
Yeah.
I remember So I remember telling my mom I was really constipated. And she's just like, constipated? She's like, well, here, take laxatives, take this and then this. And I'm like, well, it's not helping. She's like, okay, well, we need to go to the doctor. And I remember my brother was the one driving at the time, and he's like, okay, well, we'll take you to the doctor. So I go to the doctor, and I'm in the room, and the doctor's feeling on my stomach, and he's like, have you considered a pregnancy test? And I'm like, no, I'm not pregnant. No.
Yeah.
And at the time, my mom didn't understand full English, so he was there saying that in front of her, and I'm just like trying to hurry up and answer the question, like, no. And so he's like, well, the doctor was like, well, let me have you take a pregnancy test. And I was like, okay. And so I take the pregnancy test. I waited a couple minutes, and then the doctor comes in. He's like, do you want your mom here in the room, or do you want her outside in the hallway? And I'm just like, I'll tell her to go outside in the hallway. So she goes outside. The doctor's like, you're pregnant. And I was like, pregnant? Like, that didn't register in my head, because I'm like, I'm 15. Like, how can I be pregnant?
Right.
But I knew I was I was doing the do.
Yeah.
So I remember telling the doctor, I'm like, I can't say this to my mom. Like, what am I going to say?
Right.
He's like, we have resources. He's like, I can, give you some phone numbers to call to kind of get you up to, with your prenatal and so forth. And I'm just like, whoa.
like, hold on, this is too much information. Buki, wait a minute.
Well, it's because, you're 15. And I look at my daughter right now at her age, at her being at 15. And, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I do it? Like just the process of it all. And so the doctor went ahead and pulled my mom in, and because before that, the doctor was like, do you want me to tell your mom, or do you want to tell her? I was like, no, you tell her, because she's about to kill me. Right. Well, she's gonna kill me regardless. But so he pulled my mother into the office, and my doctor was just like, your daughter, he said it in Spanish for her, and he's like, she's pregnant. And then my mom's like, pregnant? Like, what? Like, looking at me like, what do you mean you're pregnant? She's pregnant? And then she's just like, how many months is she? And then, like, the doctor's like, she looks about, like, 6 months. And I'm, like, looking at my stomach. I'm like, 6 months?
This looks like 6 months to you?
I'm like, for real?
What's happening?
Well, I mean, I didn't look pregnant. That's what I'm saying. So I'm just like, what is going on? And so, oh, man. I remember just wanting to crawl under a rock.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
And now thinking back, like, my mom, she didn't, like, hug me and say, it's going to be okay. She didn't, like, there's things that I wish she could have done, but I understand that her thought process was like, what the hell? So I'm just, like, trying to basically man up and just trying to, like, okay, or at least we'll get through this. Like, I had to talk to myself. And so I remember walking out that hallway, walking back into the car. It was dead silent. My brother didn't even know what the hell was going on, because he was just like, what is going on? And my mom's like, your sister's pregnant. Let's just go home. And then my brother's like, what do you mean she's pregnant? Yeah. And so I remember when I got to the house, my mother's like, grab some food and just lock yourself in your room, because it's going to be bad when your dad comes home.
Girl, listen. Oh Oh my God. I
Yeah.
don't know how you. Oh, my parents would have killed.
Well, luckily, my mom couldn't kill me. I was carrying her grandbaby.
Yeah.
Well, I was carrying a baby.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I remember her telling me that, and I'm just like, oh dang, like this is some serious stuff. So
Yeah.
I remember I called Sean. I remember he was working at Michael's Pizza,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember telling him like, hey, I'm pregnant, and I don't think to him he fully
Even really grasped
yeah,
it.
because
Yeah.
he probably thought it was a joke or something.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I'm gonna call you back. You know, type stuff. I know. But I mean, again, you know, we were so young at the time that
you
have
didn't
even
really,
considering having a
yeah.
baby, like me telling him that is something
Mhm.
like, girl, stop playing. Like, I'll call you
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
You know, type
Mhm.
stuff. So, yeah, and then I remember my dad coming home from work. My mom, the drama that she is, she had the lights all off in the house. My dad walked into
Oh
pure
God.
darkness, and my dad's like, "What the hell is going on? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?"
She had to set the scenery.
She sure
Oh my
did.
God.
Yeah, and you know, my dad walks in and was like, "Why is it so dark in here?"
Yeah.
My mom's like, "Your daughter's pregnant." And then my dad was like, he's like, pregnant? Because I remember hearing it because I had my ear towards the floor.
Uh-huh.
And to the door, but also to the floor because it was like
Okay.
so, I don't know, you could hear anything in that house.
Yeah.
And so I remember doing that, and I'm just like, oh my God, here we go. And my dad unleashed his beast and he's like, what do you mean she's pregnant? How did she get pregnant? And blah blah blah, and came upstairs and was like banging on the door. It's like, open up the door, open the door. And my mom's in the background saying, don't open the door, stay closed, stay in there. And I just remember I was like in tears, in tears. And you know, again, I was 15.
Yeah.
And, you know, having to just process all of that. And I'm just like, what the hell? My dad grabs the keys. He leaves my house and then goes to Sean's mom's house. Yeah. And then, you know, then that whole situation was then known to everyone of that side of the family that, you know, Sean and Norlisa are having a baby and whatnot. And, you know, I remember my dad coming home. Man, that man, he did not talk to me for months. And when I was that age, you know, you're processing everything, and you're processing to the best of your
ability.
ability
At that age,
yeah, because I didn't know better. You know, I like, if I could tell my 15-year-old self, you know, I would literally hug her and be like, girl, you know, you did what you could.
Yeah.
You know,
and you're gonna get through this. Like you and
I had
Sean,
no choice.
Yeah, but you and Sean,
but it was a challenge. It was
y'all did the damn thing.
No,
though.
there's things that, and we did, and I'm not saying that we didn't, but there's things that I do regret, that I wish I could take back. The way I've, you know, handled things. But again, I was so heartbroken because even my older brother didn't talk to me. My sister didn't even talk to me up until I gave birth. And so I was looking for like approval from
just emotional support.
Yeah, from the family that I thought that supposedly loved, you know,
unconditionally.
Jehovah's Witnesses, you know.
Yeah.
But I you know, I was proven wrong, and having to go through that. You know, Sean's family was very gracious to me. I remember talking to Sean's mom the night of you know, the news broke out to her, and she was telling me like, you know, we're gonna get through this, you know, don't worry, and blase, and I'm just sitting there crying my eyes out, and you know, I was talking to Sean too about it. So, you know, I would go to his house after school because at that time, I mean, what can my parents, you know, do?
Yeah.
You know, I can finally now go to Sean's house, but I had to have a whole, you know,
I
had to go through all that just for me to be able to, you know, spend some time with Sean, and, you know, having to get pregnant. And I remember up until like February, you know, my mom was just, I don't even know how to say it. Like, she was she wanted to show support, but she was very hesitant to show support.
Yeah.
And so I really didn't have anyone
Mhm.
on my side of the family.
Mhm.
And having to get through that was just so, like, even looking back now, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, Arlise, like, surprised I didn't, like, off with my head, because
Yeah.
it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I mean, 15 and pregnant in school, and it's so crazy because I really didn't receive any side eye, like, oh my gosh, look at Arlise is pregnant. Like, I don't think I did. Maybe because I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah. Because you already had a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was what it was, is that I had so much going on that I really didn't care
Yeah.
about anything else.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, I have to get through school,
Mhm.
with a baby. And yeah, it wasn't, I didn't even feel embarrassed neither, because again, I think because I had so much going on,
Yeah.
I didn't have time
Like
to.
you don't even have time to think about it. Like everything's just kind of happening to you at once, you know, and you're dealing with, family, with being pregnant, and then going to school, playing volleyball,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I had to drop out from
Yeah,
playing
from
volleyball.
volleyball.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
once you
couldn't-
found out, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's a wrap.
I
That was a
can't
wrap.
jump as high as I used to.
Girl, yeah, and it's crazy because I even looking back, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, damn, like, I didn't have, I didn't process my emotions. I was just so concerned, trying to find the acceptance from my parents, like being accepted and being able to see, have some kind of like, oh, I'm proud of you moment.
Yeah.
But that was all out the window.
Out the window, yeah.
Even up until giving birth, my dad finally, came around and talked to me, and I was just very, like, I don't know, I guess you could say, like, I was like, oh my gosh, finally my dad's talking to me. Like, but in my head, I'm like, now thinking back, I'm like, my dad could have handled that situation better.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. The whole family should have handled that 100% better. Yeah.
Yeah, because my brother didn't talk to me for 2 years. Yeah.
Even after you had?
Hold on, I'm trying to think. Francisco. So I have Francisco, Edgar, and then my sister, Letty. And Francisco, I'm trying to think. Yeah, he did talk to me when she was about a couple months old. Not a couple months. I would say like maybe 8 months old, because he did take me to go get pictures for Jasmine.
Okay.
But that whole thing was so traumatic. It was, and I, to this day, wish I can go back. And I'm not going to get too into it, because that's a little near and dear to my heart. But there is things that I wish I could have done better.
Different, yeah.
But I didn't have that emotional support from my family.
Yeah.
And I think I was looking for that on my side of the family, because Sean had it on his side.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it's different. I do appreciate them having their support, but from my end, I didn't have anyone.
Yeah.
So it was different. It was traumatizing.
For sure. I can only imagine, I can have empathy for your situation, but to actually live through that, bro, oh my God. Like, I like, even like how you were saying, like, you were looking at Jasmine, and she, like, when she was 15, you're like, dang, how did I go through? I look at my nephews and I'm like,
how
literally.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I remember Jasmine would be like, she'll say her comments like, oh my gosh, Mom, I don't know how you would, like, even when she takes care of Brielle, her baby cousin, she's like, I don't even know how you would do this. Like, every day, like, I would literally lose my mind. I'm like, I probably did lose my mind. Like, I probably did lose my mind, because I should have been in therapy. I should have been in therapy as soon as I had gotten pregnant. I should have been in therapy then to process my emotions, because I was suppressing. I was looking for love, but I was looking for my parents' love.
Of course,
my parents' support, and it just was never there. And I think that, to me, like, that's something I would never do to my children.
Of course.
I would never do that. They could do, hopefully they don't do anything, you know, like schmurder or anything like that.
Yeah.
But like if it came to, you know, them getting someone, God forbid not, knock on wood,
knock on wood.
you know, I would never do that to my kids.
Of course, yeah.
Because of my parents, they taught me how, you know, to do certain things opposite from how they handle situations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I can say, like, you know, that those things that they did teach me.
For sure, yeah. So, like, even with being 15 and pregnant, you know, with, you know, like you said, with going through school and everything, you know, you had so much going on to the point where you didn't really kind of see, like, how everybody else
I didn't see the world outside. I was so in my world of just trying to get through school, trying to get this pregnancy. Because shortly after, Jasmine ended up getting sick and she ended up going into the hospital for like 2 months.
Going back to, you know, societal pressures, like, you know, how did you feel knowing that you were pregnant and then going to school? Like, were you kind of thinking about, like, you know, were you nervous at all? Or were you just like, whatever, I'm just going to go to school and handle my business?
That's exactly how I had to. I was so warped into my current situation and like, you know, dealing with Sean and dealing with my emotions and dealing with the whole human inside of me.
Yeah, the body changes.
Girl, I was hormonal AF. And it's so crazy how women have to go through, or what they go through with pregnancy, with even your periods now, like everything, because your hormones are like everywhere,
like up and down.
Yeah. And me being 15 and going through that situation, I'm telling you, I should have been in therapy from day one, from when I got pregnant.
Oh yeah,
you know, from that, you know. But it was more like I had to, and it's so crazy because I didn't even think about sources, like resources I could have used.
Yeah.
But I also didn't have anybody to kind of guide me to that, you know, like, you know, breaking down what you've gone through, you know, talking about your emotions. And though I couldn't make the situation better with my parents, you know, because that's really on my parents' end. That's their fault, you know. But having me to see that is just like, what the F? You need to help me. I need your emotional, you know, I need your support.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I know, like, what I did was, you know, is
like, I didn't kill nobody.
Yeah, you didn't kill anyone.
I'm just having a baby.
Right.
Like, and I wasn't even aware of, like, the resources out there. Like, I wasn't aware of SNAP. I wasn't aware of WIC. I wasn't. Yeah. And even if they did bring it to my attention, I think I was so, like, so blindsided from my situation at home that I just was like, you know, like, it was just like a blur. Like, you know, it was just crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
It was crazy.
Yeah. So, like, even with, you know, Jasmine, you know, growing up with Mexican and Caribbean culture, you know.
That girl got the best of both worlds.
Oh, for sure. Listen, she got the best food growing up. She got Mexican and Caribbean, period. So, you know, are there anything, like, you know, because I know that she went to the school that I used to go to. Were there any, like, societal pressures that she felt, you know, like any racial discrimination or anything that you've seen?
You know, it's so crazy because I personally don't think so. I mean, it could be different from, you know, her letting me know, but I know she did get bullied. Well, not necessarily like bullied, but like she did get into like a dispute with her friends at the time, and this was more in high school. But even that, I don't think so. I honestly don't think that she has gone through anything like that.
Okay.
I think like the regular teenage things.
Yeah, regular, you know, teenage stuff. Yeah.
Even for me, I'm trying to think if I've ever went through anything like that, and I don't think so. I maybe could have been, but I just was, again, so girl, like, I had problems. Like, okay. But I don't think so. I would have to ask her to see if she went through anything like that.
Yeah. Like, do you see any differences? Well, besides the pregnancy, do you see any differences of, like, how she grew up versus how you grew up?
Oh, for sure.
In terms of, like, culture and stuff?
Oh, for sure. I think Well, first off, she does have the best of both worlds. She does have really laid back parents
Yeah.
where
The
we
millennial parents are the best. I love y'all. I love y'all so much. I love y'all down.
Man, it's crazy because you have to find a balance
Yeah.
with that,
Yeah.
because you want to be your child's friend,
Uh-huh.
but you don't want to be your child's friend.
Best friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not,
Uh-huh.
I'm not
You
your.
still gotta have boundaries as
Oh,
parents. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. But Jasmine, oh man, my poor baby. Um, I think even growing up then, because I was still growing up, because I was 16 when I gave birth. I was still, I was young. I was in my teens still. So
Yeah. You had to grow up so fast.
but even so, like being a mother, yes, because you snap into being a mother when the baby's there. For some reason, it just naturally it happens.
Yeah.
You start changing the baby's pamper and the crying,
Yeah.
everything. But as far as like my mental health, I don't think I was still like I think I was in postpartum depression for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was still battling my emotions and processing what has gone through. Because we were still like it was still traumatizing even afterwards, and having to find a balance within myself and trying to kind of navigate the relationship that me and Sean had. Because me and Sean weren't always together. We weren't always on good terms, but even I could have done things differently back then. And now that I'm seeing that now, years later, I wish, and all I can do is just give my sorries and take accountability.
Of course. And like even at that age, like in terms of, even having a baby and then on top of that, trying to make a relationship work with, the kid's father, especially at that age, yeah, you don't really know shit about relationships at that point.
16,
you don't know.
17,
Yeah.
18.
There's a lot that you have
You're
to
growing
learn.
up.
Yeah.
And your brain's not even fully
Right.
developed.
And then even with your brain not being fully developed, you still have to you're basically forced into a position where you have to grow up fast.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I even with that whole growing up, like my mental health I don't think was good, but my mother was forefront. Me being a mother was there. But everything else after, besides me being a mother, everything was just it was just going up and down, up and down, up and down, because I was really trying to just navigate. And again, I should have been in therapy by like 15 years old. I really should have.
Yeah.
But, God willing, we did get through our obstacles. I mean, we still have issues to this day, me and Sean, but I mean, that's personal issues. But now I would say, being a parent, I think that's the most important thing for Jasmine and Jaden, because I did have Jaden at 21. Like I didn't learn the first time, and that one was a little different. I would say that one was more, I would say a little, it was different, but it was also more like not as traumatizing.
Yeah. Because, at that point, because I do remember like at that point you guys were like already like, together and you guys had like a place of your own and stuff. So, the situation was a little different.
It was different, but I there were so many things that I mentally wise, I should have just been in therapy. I should have been in therapy from damn near being raised in a Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
Because, oh man, I'm telling you, that really does change your perspective on not only religion, but it changes your perspective of the world.
For sure. And then speaking of that too, with religion and culture, I do want to also dive into how you're feeling, because I know for both of us, we're very political people.
Yeah.
And, especially with my podcast and, just making sure that people get their voices out there, with everything going on in the Mexican culture and with all these raids going on.
It's sad.
It is incredibly disappointing to see.
Well, and the thing is, we are creating an issue that is not an issue. Immigrants are not the problem. They're not the cause of our insurance going up, our insurance rates going up, or our groceries going up, or they are not the cause of that. Or even trans athletes, like that's like the 1%.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, gay people, they are not the problem.
Yeah.
Like the government has it all.
They're focused on the wrong issues.
The people are focused on the wrong issue because they created, well, this administration has caused such a division and hate towards people of color and Black people. You know, it's always been a racist country. We'll just say it that.
Yeah.
You know, but it's even worse now.
Of
and
course.
These ICE raids are ridiculous. They're to the point where it's becoming inhumane because of how they're treating these people that they're kidnapping.
Of course.
So I have such like anger when it comes to, I'm such an empath.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
And I literally sometimes have to kind of like turn off social media because I'm like, I can't do this today.
And here's my take on it, you know. In terms of everything going on in today's society, you know, I do agree. From the Republicans' perspective, I do agree that, of course, you don't want criminals coming in, and
but we've always been deporting criminals.
Yeah.
So but now the issue is they're now snatching,
targeting.
They're snatching anybody that is brown,
of course,
of a low income, of a low wage job. They don't care about if you're a hardworking person.
Of course,
they'll snatch you up.
Like that.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. But
no, you're good.
But it's
you're
not
good.
only brown people that are immigrants. We have Europeans. We have, we have so many different other people that immigrated here. So it's not only them, it just pisses me off.
And it's so, like, even for me being first generation, born and raised, up here in America, it's like, there was something that I was seeing where, people like first generations, like born and raised here, they're now being targeted, and like they're trying to send, the firstborn generations up here. Like, we have our citizenship, and they're still trying to target people and send them back.
Honestly, I won't say it can't happen because this administration is very...
You can't say that nothing's going to happen.
But that's why we have the Constitution. We have rights.
Right. But then even with the Constitution...
I know, that man is crazy.
Every time he picks up a pen is to sign away something. It's always something.
But it's not necessary. So, he signs these executive, but they still got to go through...
the process of,
this man thinks he really has that much power, and it's crazy that they're making him think that he has this power.
Right, but it's like, why do people should not have to be in fear of what's going to happen to them if they're going to be stripped away from their families, if they're going to be put in like fucked up detention centers, or if they're going to be put 6 feet under,
right, because
of the simple fact that they look a certain way. What does that remind you of in history?
The Holocaust.
Exactly.
We have the Holocaust Museum here in Skokie.
Do we actually?
Yeah. It's right now temporarily closed because of renovations. But we have one.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I was today years old.
Yeah, Governor Pritzker actually was just talking about it, how he opened one up. I believe he's Jewish. So he knows the history of that, and he made a museum up in Skokie, and I actually was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I'm gonna have to.
That's so cool. We gotta go now.
Yeah.
we gotta go.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know we had one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, the ICE.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, but all we can, at this point, using our voices, letting people know that are undocumented immigrants, that they do have rights, and it's unfortunate that it is happening to them. I'm I'm brown, I could possibly be detained because they are detaining citizens as well, but it's sad. It's really sad that this world
it's just something like you shouldn't have to think about stuff like that. But like, you should just be able to live your life, and from an order perspective, like, yes, of course, if you're trying to come into the country, there is like a process of how you do it, but then it's like,
but they have made that process even
incredibly difficult, even for my brother.
You have to be here to get that status.
Oh yeah.
So how do you how do you fix that?
Right?
How do you make, instead of making it easier for people
Yeah.
or just, making a way for
Yeah,
people,
it's becoming increasingly
why?
difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's becoming difficult. Like, my parents were able to come up here
Mhm.
and get status and go
Yeah.
through the paperwork and whatnot, but that didn't happen overnight.
Oh,
Like,
of course not. Yeah.
it was a
Uh-huh.
process.
Mhm.
And now it's even worse now. And, people are running from things that are happening in other, in their country, that
Mhm.
they have to escape the violence,
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's just this, it's just sad. And this is Trump, who is a AKA Christian,
Mm. Mhm.
so it's just, it's despicable. It's
It is.
laughable.
Yeah. And it's just, you know, it's so, like I said, just disappointing to see that, even with people with Christian views, I think that Christians are supposed to be people who, care about other people, people who try to help out the less fortunate, and, people
Well,
who
there's
believe in
still,
God, which
yeah,
there are
there's
some
still, but
Christians.
there's
Yeah.
Christian nationalists, Christian nationalist. Oh
Mm-hmm.
gosh, I'm gonna get this word all messed up.
It's okay.
Yeah, so we have Christian nationalists, and then we have Christians.
Uh-huh.
And there are good Christians
Of
out there, but
course. Yeah.
there's Christians that involve the government, and I think there should be
Mm-hmm.
a fine line between,
Yeah.
the government, that and what you believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sad that religion is getting warped into this.
Of course. Yeah.
But I mean, this country is just crazy.
Yeah. Especially, like, even with the whole,
Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk situation. Girl,
Listen,
how we feeling about that?
what happened to him was tragic,
Of course. Yeah.
and I am not one to celebrate, but I also don't care. I don't have compassion for
And
someone,
empathy for someone who
like him.
spews out hate.
And I wish, I don't know, I'll probably quote some things that he said that came out of his mouth, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are trying to say, well, you took that out of context. I'm like, what was taken out of context?
Right, because he said it with his own mouth.
He said a lot of hateful things.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And I don't think a person like him, like, wouldn't care if I died tomorrow as me being brown.
Yeah. And you know what? Actually, since we're on the topic of Charlie Kirk, there was something that I posted on Facebook where I was talking about it's also unfair. Why are we celebrating somebody who was a podcaster who was spewing out hate? And it's like the second that he dies, it's like the Republican Party, they're lowering the flag for him.
Yeah.
They're, having like a whole presidential thing, for Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Then it's like, y'all see minorities dying every day.
Well, we did have those two politicians from Minnesota who were assassinated at their home.
Exactly.
The Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark and the dog Gilbert, I believe is, and I hope I don't get that name wrong, but I believe that that's their name, who were assassinated at their home.
Exactly.
And I didn't hear Trump, not one peep.
Not
These are actual politicians.
Yeah.
But because it falls under their propaganda with Charlie Kirk and what he said, and
they believe in what Charlie Kirk says.
Yeah.
So it's like, to them, it's like, oh, well, because he stands with us, we gotta celebrate him and da 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 da. But then it's like, y'all are so pro-life.
Yeah.
Like y'all say y'all are. Okay. So their whole defense is pro-life and all lives matter.
Yeah.
But then it's like, y'all really aren't as all lives matter and pro-life as y'all say y'all are.
See, now it's coming back to me. Charlie Kirk has mentioned about George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about him. He also talked about Martin Luther King Jr.
And how black people should still be in slavery and stuff like that.
And he also
because there was less crimes.
Well, right.
Yeah.
That was another one. And then also, too, if he was to see a black pilot, he would question their qualifications.
Yep, I saw that too. Yep.
So, I mean, to me, yeah, the devil also knew God and also knew the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Kirk also knew the Bible and he claimed himself as the man of God. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no difference to me.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't actually, like, if Jesus was to see him today, he'd be disgusted by Charlie Kirk.
Clock it.
Because honestly, Jesus was for the people.
Yeah.
And I'm not really religious. I've taken myself out of that whole category because I still have this, like, I believe in a higher being, but I just can't cope with the fact that God has allowed so much human suffering that you were so vocal in the Bible.
Yeah.
But now you're peep silent. That I'm right now I'm figuring out my ways, but I do believe there's a higher being. But from how they describe Jesus, this man is basically a treasure. He loved everyone, you know, and Charlie Kirk did not.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
And not even that. I don't think he's ever spoken about taking accountability from what he said.
No, he stood on it. Very much he stood on it. And that's why I'm saying it's like, it's just, you know, like I said, like you said, I don't think the man should have died. I solely believe
I just don't care.
The only reason you or unalive someone, the only time I believe in that is, one, if somebody is purposefully trying to harm you or take your life, you have the right to defend yourself. Yeah. Or if it's somebody like a serial killer who's like going on.
For the record, I want to say that everybody wants to come to his defense and say that those were his opinions. Racism is not an opinion.
Exactly. So there is a difference between someone's opinion versus just being straight up hateful. There's a difference between opinion and hate speech.
Yeah. No, for sure.
100%.
Yeah, like me and you could dispute on pineapple on pizza.
Of course.
That's an opinion.
Of course.
You might love it. I hate it. I feel like it should not go on there.
Right.
But Charlie Kirk literally said hateful speech.
For sure, yeah.
So to me, that's not an opinion. You know, that is hateful speech that causes harm. And you're sitting there telling people who have the same beliefs as you. So that's why I really question people who posted him, you know, the day after he passed away or the day of.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of people on my Instagram friends list, and my eye just raised up like, you know, again, I am not going to post, you know, I never posted him. I never celebrated his death, but I did question those who did, because this man spewed hate. You know, he didn't have an opinion. You know, he literally threw harmful, you know, tactics out there to get people to go, you know, and he was debating college kids.
He was dividing people more than bringing people together. Yeah.
You know, so I was, that whole Charlie Kirk situation, yes, tragic, but do I care? No, I don't care. I do feel bad for his children.
Oh, of course. And his wife, his kids. Yeah.
I don't know about his wife, might be the same way because they married each other. So.
Oh, hold on. You got a point there. You got a point.
You know, I feel bad for the kids because the kids are the ones that are innocent. And they have to grow up. And, you know, they'll form their own opinion.
Their own judgment, yeah.
Yeah. But as far as the wife, nah, she's questionable because you married a guy like Kirk. So you must love the things that he says and, you know. Yeah. So that's questionable to me.
That makes sense.
So, but yes, tragic. Yes. Yeah. Do I care? No. Am I going to celebrate his death? No.
Yeah. Like, I can understand why people don't have empathy for the man.
I mean, how could you?
Yeah, literally.
Empathy goes both ways.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And I don't think people realize that. I feel like it's just so one-sided. Like, I don't have to have empathy for someone who did not have empathy for others.
Exactly.
Or compassion.
And then it's like, I feel like to the Republican Party, especially the people who follow Trump, it's like they can sit around. Like, I was in a group chat with my friends when like a while ago when this whole George Floyd thing was happening. They're sitting around, joking around, and sending memes in a group chat.
Do you remember Trayvon Martin with George Zimmerman?
When they're joking around about stuff like that.
Skittles bags as a meet and greet. Taunting and making jokes about Trayvon Martin. And it's nothing happened to that.
And now all of a sudden, it's like when somebody with your views ends up passing away, now all of a sudden, now it's, oh, I don't understand why you guys are making jokes about this. Y'all need to have empathy. So now all of a sudden we have to have empathy for a guy who was spewing out straight up hate, and you're expecting us to be all boo-hoo, I'm sad about it. But then when it comes to other people, the minorities, and y'all are sitting up here saying all lives matter and pro-life, this, that, and the third, where's that at? That went out the window when it came to them. When it came to the minorities, y'all didn't say anything about it. Y'all didn't try to, press the issue. You didn't try to help. Yeah. But now all of a sudden, because somebody dies and they have your views, now all of a sudden, y'all believe in empathy.
Well, I will say that both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party both have their wrongs. Yeah. And I do feel...
I just think it's unfair. That's all.
Yeah, I also do feel like we have like MAGA Republicans, and then we do have Republicans who don't think the same way as MAGA Republicans. So I mean, it's just all chaotic. Yeah, for but sure. I do lean more towards a Democratic Party.
For sure, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Arlise, for coming on to the podcast. It was so fun having you. Thank you so much for talking about your experience. I know it wasn't easy, with all the trauma that you went through.
Still going through trauma. I'm just kidding.
We going through it.
Wait, before we end this, I'm going to say this. Trump, free Palestine, and ICE. That's all I had to say. Yay! But it was fun.
For sure. It was. Like I said, and I always talk about this on like all of my episodes on my podcast. I love the fact that we're just able to come together with me, sitting down with people of different cultures and just being able to listen to everybody's side and to get everybody's side and their opinions, voiced and heard, because I believe in that, that's my passion is just making sure that, if there's something going on, we need to be heard at the end of the day, point blank, period.
Also, turning these conversations into actions, though, too.
Of course.
So being proactive.
Of course.
So, yeah, just wanted to put that out there, too. Because, yes, these are great conversations, but, what else can we do? What actions can we take?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right.
Thank you so much, Arlise.
So, do we do cut? What is this?
And cut.